Do you believe in the things that go bump in the night? Are you drawn to the unexplained and the unsettling? Then prepare to journey into the world of dark whispers, where reality blurs with the unknown and fear takes center stage. Join us as we delve into real-life accounts of chilling encounters, paranormal experiences, and unexplained phenomena that will send shivers down your spine and leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. From haunted houses and ghostly apparitions to demonic possessions and creatures of the night, Dark Whispers will take you on a thrilling exploration of the darkest corners of human experience. Subscribe now and hit that notification bell to join our community of horror enthusiasts. Dare to step into the shadows, if you think you can handle it. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Ronald, a retired officer from the municipal police. For safety reasons, I'll avoid naming specific locations. Throughout my career, I encountered numerous stories, some good, some bad, and some utterly terrifying. This particular tale stands out as one of the strangest and most inexplicable I've ever experienced. It happened in the early 90s during my time as a highway patrol officer. I patrolled the roads alone, though occasionally I'd cross paths with colleagues, offering a sense of camaraderie, especially at night. This specific night was bitterly cold, the thermometer reading a mere 5 degrees. Driving along the desolate road with a steaming coffee, I hadn't seen another car for over an hour. Suddenly, I slammed on the brakes. A car was parked diagonally, blocking the road, its passenger door wide open and lights on. Assuming an accident, I pulled over to investigate. However, the car was undamaged. Keys were in the ignition, and an eerie song played on the radio. No one was in sight. I moved the car to the side of the road to avoid any accidents. Then, I heard rustling amongst the trees. With my flashlight, I cautiously approached, the bone-chilling cold biting through me. Who would wander into the woods in such freezing temperatures? As the rustling grew louder, I entered the woods and witnessed a scene I'll never forget. A young man knelt, wearing only shorts and a tank top, his bare feet exposed. He convulsed violently, as if experiencing a seizure. But what truly terrified me was the creature before him. A pitch-black goat-like animal, over 2 meters tall, standing on its hind legs with one paw placed on the young man's head. The creature, sensing my presence, bolted on all fours, vanishing into the darkness. The young man collapsed, sobbing and screaming. I covered him with my coat and helped him into my patrol car. He was in no state to explain what happened, shaking and crying uncontrollably. I called an ambulance, which took nearly an hour to arrive due to our remote location. My colleagues arrived, and one took the young man's car to the city. At the hospital, when I finally managed to get him to talk, his words sent shivers down my spine. He revealed a pact made to cure his terminally ill mother, a pact that had gone horribly wrong, leading him to be haunted and eventually controlled by the creature I had witnessed. Despite seeing the creature with my own eyes, believing his story as a police officer was difficult. Tests revealed no substance abuse or mental illness. His mother's illness was confirmed, yet the mystery remained. We released him, taking away his driver's license. I never learned his fate, but his story remains one of the most disturbing and unforgettable cases I ever encountered. My name is Kyle, and a few years back, I served as a police officer in Baja California, Mexico. I retired for personal reasons, longing to leave behind the experiences that haunted my memories. This particular story, however, left a lasting impression on me. I was patrolling with 2 colleagues, both decent individuals but lacking empathy for the community they served. One night, we received a call to investigate a missing person report. A distraught woman approached us, desperate for help in finding her son who had vanished over a week ago. She had just received a call from his phone, hearing his voice saying goodbye before the line went dead. My colleagues, unmoved, insisted she visit the public prosecutor's office for phone tracking. Unable to bear her anguish, I asked for her phone. I noticed a location-sharing app and, with her permission, discovered her son had been sharing his location for days. I showed my colleagues, but they remained indifferent, urging us to leave the matter to the prosecutor. Disgusted by their apathy, I revealed the app and the location to the woman. Tears streamed down her face as she begged us to take her there, almost falling to her knees. After a heated debate, my colleagues agreed, but only if we encountered no suspicious activity, as the location was a remote hill on the outskirts of the city. The drive through the forest was filled with nervous anticipation. We finally reached the location indicated by the app, and a few steps away, we found the young man's lifeless body. The mother's grief was heart-wrenching. As we comforted her, a chilling realization struck us. The young man had been dead for at least 2 days, contradicting the mother's claim of speaking to him that very night. His phone was found broken and switched off, leaving us baffled as to how the call was made. The woman insisted it was her son's voice, a brief 4-second goodbye. We informed our superiors, and the body was taken away. Despite questioning, the mother remained adamant about the call. I never learned the outcome of the case, but the memory of that woman's grief and the unexplained call continues to haunt me. It's a stark reminder of the pain families endure and the mysteries that sometimes remain unsolved. My name is Jason, and I attended a small university with a close-knit campus. To save money and make friends, I opted for a random roommate during my first year. This decision, however, backfired spectacularly. My roommate, Joe, was an odd character, rude, unfriendly, and rarely venturing out except for classes. He wasn't someone I'd typically associate with. He forbade me from using my TV or video games, claiming they bothered him. He even demanded complete darkness after nightfall. When I tried to reason with him, he threatened to report me to the dean. I quickly made other friends who, upon hearing about Joe, suggested requesting a room change. I hadn't realized it was an option. Thankfully, a few weeks later, I was offered a single dorm in a newer building across the street. Not wanting to create any drama, I decided not to inform Joe and quietly moved out while he was in class. My new room was a haven of peace and quiet. I could finally enjoy my TV, games, and even invite friends over. However, I remained cautious of encountering Joe on the small campus. For a few days, I successfully avoided him. Then, things took a strange turn. Late one night, while playing video games, I heard someone trying to open my door. It was locked, so they resorted to knocking. I cautiously approached the peephole, wondering who could possibly know I lived there. As I reached the door, the knocking stopped. Unease crept in, but I dismissed it. The next morning, I was shocked to see Joe sitting in the study area of my new dorm building. I quickly left, avoiding any interaction. Later that day, I noticed him again, seemingly following me around campus. He wasn't close enough to confront, but his presence was unsettling. That night, he was back at my door, knocking louder and with an air of anger. I remained silent, observing him through the peephole. He knocked again, harder this time, drawing the attention of another resident who yelled at him to stop. Joe glared at my door for a moment, then stepped back and delivered a forceful kick before leaving. Terrified, I decided to report him. Thankfully, the encounters ceased after that. I later learned from someone who knew him that Joe had dropped out, and his real name wasn't even Joe. Even more disturbing, I discovered he was a suspect in the death of an 8-year-old boy who had drowned, though he was never charged due to lack of evidence. Connecting the dots, I couldn't shake the feeling that my former roommate was capable of something truly sinister. His unsettling behavior and the chilling coincidence left me with a lingering sense of fear and a deep distrust of appearances. I'm Luke, and 8 years ago, I worked as a police officer in the United States. This story, which I'll share anonymously for safety reasons, details a particularly disturbing case my partner and I encountered. We were on patrol when an alert came in from a mobile home park. Residents reported a foul odor emanating from one of the homes, growing increasingly unbearable. We arrived at midnight to find several concerned neighbors gathered outside. The stench hit us immediately, a putrid smell unlike anything I'd ever experienced. My partner, a seasoned officer, grimly noted it was the unmistakable odor of a decomposing human body. We spoke to the woman who had called, learning the smell had been present for days, gradually worsening until it became unbearable. The resident was a man in his 40s who kept to himself and rarely interacted with others. After asking the neighbors to return home, we attempted to contact the resident, knocking on the door repeatedly. Receiving no response, we decided to enter. The odor intensified, almost overpowering. We turned on the lights, finding the interior in disarray, with scattered plates, glasses, and overturned decorations. It looked as if a struggle had taken place. Walking down the hallway, we reached two doors, one leading to the bathroom and the other to the bedroom. Inside the bedroom, on the light-colored carpet, we discovered a dark stain in the shape of a human body. My partner explained it was from fluids released during decomposition, but the body itself was missing. We searched the bathroom and the rest of the house, finding nothing but the chilling stain. We called for backup and cordoned off the area, suspecting a crime scene. As we continued searching, my partner and I heard something that made our blood run cold. A faint whisper that said, "Look, look!" Our body cameras captured the sound, confirming it wasn't our imagination. We frantically searched for the source, but the house was empty. Reinforcements arrived with 2 cadaver dogs. Following their lead, we made a gruesome discovery under the mobile home. In a cramped space lay the dismembered body of the resident, decomposing and riddled with 2 gunshot wounds. The killer had used a silencer, explaining why no neighbors heard anything. Thanks to surveillance footage, the suspects were identified, but the trial is ongoing as the murder weapon remains missing. To this day, my partner and I believe the whisper we heard was a psychophony, the voice of the deceased guiding us to his remains. It's a chilling reminder of the unseen forces that may exist beyond our understanding. You can call me Nathan. I'm 37 years old, and what I'm going to tell you happened after moving from my hometown to London. I settled into my first independent apartment, the modern red brick building, located in a peaceful, leafy neighborhood in North London. Seemed like the perfect place to start my new life. However, strange occurrences soon made me question my choice. One night, my friend and flatmate Anthony inquired why I walked so slowly to the bathroom at night, wondering if I was a sleepwalker. I dismissed it as a joke, knowing I wasn't prone to such behavior. Yet I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. I began to notice strange, slow footsteps on the floorboards at odd hours, adding to the unsettling atmosphere. Another bizarre incident involved my small bedside lamp. One morning, I woke up to find it turned on and lying on the floor. I distinctly remembered turning it off before falling asleep. I brushed it off as a forgetful moment, but a nagging doubt lingered. The most terrifying experience occurred a few months later. Returning home late on a Sunday night after a weekend with friends, I settled on the floor with my back against the sofa, enjoying a beer and watching TV. Suddenly, a pillow flew from the sofa, landing directly on my head and knocking over my beer can. Panic surged through me as I scrambled to the door, trying to rationalize what had just happened. Living alone amplified the fear. I spent the rest of the night with all the lights on, feeling constantly on edge. Although things calmed down after that, the unsettling atmosphere persisted. I often felt an unwelcome presence, a sense that I wasn't alone. One night, after returning from celebrating my birthday, I was trying to fall asleep with all the lights on when I heard a distinct knocking sound. It was as if someone was knocking right next to my room. That was my breaking point. I couldn't take it anymore. I immediately started searching for a new place to live and moved out within 2 weeks. Later, I discovered the building was originally constructed for the mentally ill before being sold to developers in the 70s. This revelation, coupled with my experiences, led me to believe that some things exist beyond our comprehension. The house, it seemed, was filled with restless spirits, forever trapped within its walls. Good evening to everyone who will listen to this story. I'm not going to say my real name. You can call me Andrew. I'm 42 years old, and as a police officer in the United States, I've witnessed countless tragedies and encountered individuals capable of unimaginable acts. This particular case, however, left an indelible mark on my soul. While patrolling a high-crime area, I noticed a child peering through the rear window of an old car, frantically knocking as if pleading for help. The car sped off as the light turned green, and I immediately pursued, radioing for backup. Despite its age, the car accelerated onto the highway, weaving through traffic and endangering other drivers. With the help of another patrol unit, we cornered the car and apprehended the driver. As my colleague handcuffed the man, I rushed to check on the child, but to my bewilderment, the back seat was empty. Confused and increasingly suspicious, I confronted the man, demanding to know the child's whereabouts. He claimed he wasn't with any children. I refused to believe him, recalling the desperate pleas for help I had witnessed. With a growing sense of dread, I took the car keys and opened the trunk. Inside, I found a small baby girl, unconscious due to lack of oxygen. My heart sank as I realized the gravity of the situation. We immediately called for an ambulance and began questioning the man. After hours of interrogation, he confessed to kidnapping the baby girl and her older brother from a park. He further admitted that when the boy tried to escape, he had taken his life and buried him in his backyard. This man was a monster, and although he is now serving time, the memory of the little boy haunts me. I can still see his face pressed against the car window, desperately seeking help. He saved his sister's life with his bravery, and we failed him. This case serves as a stark reminder to cherish and protect our children, for there are true monsters lurking in the shadows. Good evening, everyone. I'll let you know that I won't identify myself, and I'll tell you about my first day as a plumber with a new company started with an unusual assignment. I was sent to a house on the outskirts of town, a rundown, dilapidated structure that appeared abandoned for years. The call was for a leaky pipe under the sink, a simple job, but something about the whole situation felt off. Upon arrival, I knocked on the door, and a middle-aged man with an unsettling aura and a strange smile answered. His voice was odd, not matching his appearance. He led me to the kitchen, which was completely devoid of furniture, confirming my suspicion that the house was indeed abandoned. When questioned, the man simply chuckled and said he had just moved in. I placed my tools on the counter and opened the cabinet under the sink. As I slid underneath to examine the pipes, I noticed the man standing directly above me, his legs spread wide, effectively trapping me. I politely asked for some space, but he barely moved. To my surprise, there was no leak, and when I tried to turn on the faucet, no water came out. The man claimed he must have accidentally turned off the main water valve, which he said was located upstairs. I found this odd, as I had never encountered a water valve on the upper floor of any house. A sense of unease grew within me, The man's strange behavior, the condition of the house, and the nonsensical explanation for the water valve all pointed to something being seriously wrong. As I heard footsteps rapidly descending the stairs, I knew I had to get out of there. I grabbed my tools and rushed out the front door, heading straight for my van. Although I'm a large man and not easily intimidated, a primal instinct told me I was in danger. I called my boss, David, and explained the situation, passing it off as a prank call. Later, I investigated further and confirmed the house was indeed empty and abandoned. The phone number used to make the call was a voice-over IP number, not a real one. I reported the encounter to the local police department, hoping they would investigate and perhaps condemn the house. I never returned to that part of town, and my time with that plumbing company was short-lived. The experience left me with a lingering sense of unease and a reminder that appearances can be deceiving and danger can lurk in unexpected places. Which story scared you the most? Tell us in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the Dark Whispers channel and activate the bell to stay up to date with all our scary stories. If there's a story you want to hear here, leave it in the comments. We'll see you again soon. Thank you all.